Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
On our spreadsheet, you have, wait a minute. You have a column that says links to the recordings.
Mm-hmm.
The first recording for the first time that we met is there. The second one is not there, and the third one, I cannot have access to it.
Okay, thank you. I will make notes and we will
So if you can check,
Yes, cool. I will do that.
thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and I missed the second one. That's why it's so important.
Yeah. Is that the only one that you've missed?
Yes,
Okay.
but I couldn't get to the third one either. Something is wrong with the link
Okay. I will
or
go
with the permissions or something like that.
Okay. Cool. I will get that addressed for sure. How yeah, as everyone gets popping on, I don't oh, here we go. I was just saying I don't want to waste a second. How has the weeks, I think it's been 3 weeks. How are things going? What are your what I really want to lean into is things that you're noticing, everybody, that you're doing well, that's working. Because when we do more of that, other positive things tend to increase as well. So yeah, we'll highlight some things that need to, be looked at again. But when we really focus on what we're doing well, we repeat more of that behavior. And that goes for our kiddos too. When we focus more on what they are doing well, then they naturally want to do more of that. So yeah, how's it been going?
Well, I wasn't there for quite a while, so I just joined this week. So it's been a while since I'm not with the kids.
Okay.
But I remember we were working a lot with the things that we talk about in the first session. The try these a lot.
Mm,
It really helps.
cool.
And just this week, we started working with the ABCs with my team.
Okay.
And we went over it, discussing what was it about. I gave them the sheet so they can complete, and we are going to each one observe different scenarios that usually we have going on, but we didn't pay attention to the before maybe. So focusing on that, what happened before this, and how did we react? How were our emotions? So each one of them is going to be focusing on something.
That's amazing. And it really is that 60 seconds before that behavior that we want to look at. It's like, what set that off? And then we can do an ABC on ourselves too, which is a whole nother thing because we have our own work for sure. So that's awesome. I think we've got, is everybody here? We've got Emily or Christy. We have Miss Lara. Lisa, I imagine, with iPhone. Or no, I think that's Miss Lizzie. And we have Camila. Is that everybody? Christy or Emily?
Hey, oh, good. All right, I'm not on mute. Sorry. Yes, for today, yes, it is.
All right, awesome. Well, I am so excited to see everyone's lovely, well, I don't see everyone's faces, but everyone's here. That's super, super exciting. And I really want to take just a minute to connect and see how these last few weeks have gone. And I am going to be making two lists. Really, what I hear that's really going well and things that might need a little bit of tweaking. But we're not going to focus on this list so much. We're really going to focus on what y'all are doing well, so we can do more of that. And then we'll seed in some of this stuff, okay? So who wants to go first? Just kind of letting each other know how these last few weeks have gone.
Well, I can make a general statement. I've been visiting the different classes, you know, and I've seen a lot of progress, just a lot of positive changes with the way that the teachers are responding and the way that the kids are taking these things. I know that the tender roots, things that I've definitely seen in regards to the tender roots in Broward, is they've been working a lot on giving choices. You know, you can do this or you can do that. And I feel like that's had a very positive impact on the way kids are flowing in and out. You can try this. I've also heard for Lisa's group, I've heard her also do things like, I've watched her use some of the techniques that you've put into place for the social emotional, and she even used that to show the other teachers. You know, she made a game going through the color wheel for emotions, and I thought that that's beautiful. And we're going to talk about, I'm doing a professional development where I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about, you know, the ABCs that you have suggested, so that we as a group can remember that, you know, there's always something that we don't see that is there, that's underlying. And, you know, I think it's important to maybe not identify what that is, but just understand that that is, you know, we don't always have to know what the underlying cause of a action or reaction is, but we have to understand that it happens, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that over the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. That was awesome. Miss Laura, also, we were just chatting right before everyone else popped on, and she also mentioned that the Try This has been really successful with her and her group. And so I heard you say that also. It's one of my faves for sure. So I'm glad that that one really is latching on and helping. And then choices, as you said, is so powerful. You're giving a little bit of power back to these kiddos, and they're like, cool, got it. And they take it and they go most of the time. So that's that is awesome. Thank you for that. Does anyone else have anything they want to share before we kind of go into our agenda and what we're going to be kind of talking about today?
I've been using the choices thing a lot with my kids. I'm just seeing a lot of maturing in my class anyway, and we've gotten a few new kids this week, and one of my kids who's been with me for a while has been choosing to forget a lot of our rules, and it's unfortunately teaching some of our new kids, you know, things that we really don't want to encourage. So I've been giving him a lot of choices and giving him sort of a leadership role to hopefully get him back to remembering how to make choices that make our day flow a little easier, instead of encouraging these kids to not do, you know, what's going to be best for the group. And that's been working, because I can see he doesn't really want to be, you know, he doesn't want to be discouraging, you know, better behavior in the class. So he's been getting a lot of choices lately to help out with that. And I think it's working. I think he's finding that it's a positive move for him.
Awesome. What kind of things? Well, we can get into more specifics in just a minute. So we'll definitely come back to that. And what I also want to come back to is, when we think about rules, it is so much more effective, instead of reminding of the rules, to create opportunities to practice the rules. so they can wear what it really means to follow the rules. And also, depending on what your vibe is with the kiddos, set up opportunities where you break the rules and then have that discussion too on what it's like to take a toy and that type of thing. But that comes with a lot of trust, and so maybe that's not doesn't need to happen now, but really practicing what are these rules and how do they feel versus just hearing them and like kind of going off in that direction. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing all of that. I love that you're seeing his need for power. And so you're trying to give him more choices so that he can do good and get power and maybe not lead kiddos in that negative way. So amazing, not surprising, but amazing. Okay. Does anyone want to share anything else? Or are we, oh, Miss Lara.
When I told you I was away for a while, when I came back, they were sharing, they had this chart done with the rules and some pictures and also the schedule, how the day goes. So we go over them every morning, and we not only say the rules, but we act them out. So we choose here and there one or two of those, and we act them out with different situations. So, for example, today we were acting out like, I want that you have, may I have it? And the other person deciding, do I give it to you, not give it to you, etc. And we've been acting out kindness and stuff like that. And it really helps. Yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome.
I just have a question. Laura, you're doing that with Tender Roots?
Yes.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The acting out of the rules. I've been wondering like if we should get into that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if they'd be wanting or like understanding them. You just present it to them. How do you do it? If you could just describe it for a sec.
So for example, I told you today we were working with that. So I asked a child that had a silk, scarf.
Uh-huh.
And I said, may I have your scarf? I'm going to use it for something. So I said, well, everybody, look, I have a scarf in my hand. Now, Ian, how would you do if you would like to have my scarf, the one that I have? How would you ask? And he said, like, may I ask it? May I have it, please? And so I said, well, now I can decide if I would give it to him or not. And I decided to give it to him because he asked very politely, very nice. So thank you for being so kind. And I gave it the.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like in the moments too, and
do that
and
also?
modeling, which I think that Ian talked about.
Well, yes, with kindness too. So two kids go to the center and they show how can we be kind to the other one, and how can we use gentle touch. And so they hug each other or they touch each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have fun.
Thank you for sharing that with who asked, Miss Eliza?
I don't know how I'm showing up because I don't see myself, but it's Camila.
Camila. Okay.
Hi.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I want to add something to that could be helpful, but we can come back to that. Okay. Did you have any more questions, Camila, on that piece from Miss Laura, or do you feel complete with that?
No, that's good. I guess I can add that I've been doing more of the modeling. So I don't know if it was like last class or when it was, but we talked about like modeling as teachers with other people in your team and then with the kids as well. So like I found myself like if the kids wanted something I had, I would just like give it to them. Like it's okay, you want this crayon, you can have it. But now I'm just like using it as opportunities to model. So I'll be like, oh, I'm using it right now. I can give it to you when I'm done, or I can give it to you in like a minute. And I think I have seen them like using it with each other more ever since I've started doing it with them and even with like teachers. Not that exact example, but just like different ways.
Very cool. Actually, I think I am going to come in with that little tidbit because it's super relevant for both of your stories and examples. So just kiddos really do well when things are quite concrete. And so when I had my preschool, what I implemented was giving it to my hands. And so that let kiddos either know that it was coming soon, that they didn't have to hover, that I would, or the children would go give the thing to their hands when they were done. So to hop, for Miss Laura, your example of the scarf, we really want kiddos to, if you wanted it back, then you could say, you know, in your example and role modeling this with the kiddos, yeah, you can have this and I don't need it back. Don't worry, you can have it for the rest of the playtime. Just letting them know if you need it back or not. And that really helps reduce a lot of issues too, because there's no confusion, you know. And then if you did need it back, you could say, you know, you can have it for a little while. I'm going to need it back soon. Is that okay? Or should I just keep it? You know what I mean? Just helping them have that dialogue of the expectations around the scarf. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And then Camila, with the you gave the example of the crayon.
Yeah.
And you were just modeling kindness, or were you modeling a sharing or a giving? I forget.
I think a sharing. Yeah, a sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what that can look like is, oh, if they ask you for the red crayon, you can be like, yeah, sure. When you're done, will you give it back to my hands?
I love that. Yeah.
It is really
So
powerful.
simple.
And it really helps those kiddos not have to hover or keep asking, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Because they know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
I actually, in my school, I implemented where they could bring toys, their own toys. They could bring them. And we had issues until I implemented that. And after I implemented, helped them really get good with that strategy of bring it to my hands, they just shared all their stuff because they knew when that child was done, that wouldn't be left in the mud. They would go give it back to their hands, and it was amazing. So, cool. Any questions around that, or is that pretty clear?
Yeah, Megan, can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
It's you know, it's really powerful to do the role playing with the kids, no matter what age, and you can always do it in age appropriate ways. And you don't have to worry about, like, even with the tender roots, our youngest kids, you can give them opportunities that, you know, make sense to them. So, and it's also a good way to review the rules. So, you know, sharing, caring, all that stuff, and also going through our rules without ever actually going into our rules. We just kind of use those examples to show.
Did that have anything? Were you trying to add on to the hands thing, or was that just something you wanted to make sure that was clear?
I wanted to just make sure that it was clear because they were talking about different things to do with the ages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So everyone feels good with that? Okay. I guess one more little piece on the rules. If you were to, I think you guys have 3 main rules, correct? Emily? Miss Emily?
Yes. Sorry.
It's so much better to practice, and maybe you're not saying, okay, rule number 1 is this, let's practice. Maybe you're not doing that, and that's fine. If you were to be more blatant about the rules, it's so much more powerful to be like, who remembers rule number 1? Having them tell you. That's what the whole point of that piece was. We can tell them, but when we tell, it kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. But when we can ask and have them tell us, we're giving them power. That goes for most things. So just knowing that you can, you know, help them practice the rules, tell the rules, all those things. But when they tell us, then they're owning a part of the process. Okay, that was just a little bit of review. All right, so let's go into guardrails real quick. What we agreed as a group from the very beginning, how to make sure this is safe, because we're all talking about kids and relationships, and you're a team, and sometimes things can be said that isn't intended to land a certain way, but it does. And so who remembers what we agreed on from the very, very beginning on how to keep this super child-oriented, right? Goal-focused, and where we can assume positive intent the whole way through. Does anyone remember what y'all threw that first time? I said one. I said positive intent. Or assuming positive intent. Does anyone have another one that they remember? No? What? No, that's okay.
Oh, we're talking about what we agreed as like a team that's going through this training. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think I got a little confused.
Sorry.
Assuming positive intent, being honest, like being transparent,
Mhm.
and being open, I think was one of them.
Okay. Open, honest, transparent. Yeah, cool. I think, does anyone else remember anymore, or did that cover it? Okay. If anyone else remembers anything, we should have made a list from the get-go, but okay. We reviewed the guardrails. I was gonna ask for a recap of the visual routines, because that was something that was discussed last time, getting that visual routine, and you have implemented that, so that is super cool. And Miss Laura, you're saying that it's going well. Is your class the only one that's implemented that? Miss Emily, do you know?
Sorry, implemented what? I got distracted.
The visual routine.
Oh, okay. It seems to be going well. In fact, I suggested some kids that were arriving late. I spoke with the parents and told them, please bring them on time because we're going over this. And I think it's really important for your child. And if you can get here on time, I understand. I'm going to leave the chart there and you go over it before he or she joins circle time. Because it was going really well, I guess. Yeah.
That's great, Laura. So parents that are coming in late are doing it with them?
Well, so far they got here on time.
Oh, good.
But
Okay, even better.
yes. But that was the idea. If they don't get there on time, please go ahead and review the rules and the schedule with the child before joining us.
That's great.
Mm.
That's really, really wonderful. And Megan, to answer your question, the tender roots and Broward are the class that I've seen using that schedule so far.
Okay.
So they're like the guinea pigs.
Okay.
The rest of us don't have it printed up with pictures like that, but we all, as a group, the 3 older class groups, review the rules each morning, and we have the kids telling us what that means to them after each rule. What does it mean to show respect? What does it mean to use your hands and your body and your words for good? What does it mean to stick together mentally and physically? So we go over it that way. And then each of us break into our subgroups and we do our own little morning thing, but we don't have like the pictures and the words on a chart like Laura's class.
Right. And Lizzie,
so yeah,
most of you guys do a schedule and you go through your schedule for the day. So,
right.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Right. What's up? What's coming next? What's today all about? What we're doing today. Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't doing it. That's why it's new for
Right.
us.
But not not written down still. Like last year I did it with pictures, but they're all my same kids now. So now I don't have the pictures anymore. As they're older and learning more, now it's just talking to them about what's coming. It's the same schedule. Yeah. It just changes the topic.
What I noticed for my kids, the pictures, they capture their attention because they're on them. It's not that the picture says a lot, right? But because they're on them, it's like, oh, I'm there, I'm here, and it just they look at it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. It's very meaningful when they're in the thing. One reason that either the schedule, Lizzie, that you have, or the picture one, Laura, that you have, the reason that that's so great is because when a kiddo comes up, or kiddos, and they're like, what's happening next? What's happening next? What's happening next? Or, you know, they are asking those questions, you can give them power back and say, what's on the schedule? You don't have to tell them anything. You can just leave it in their hands to figure it out. And they're so empowered when they go over and they can see, this is what we're doing. This has been really helpful for another forest school that I'm working with kiddos. Just, they get bored and they just go straight to the teacher. What are we doing now? What are we doing now? What are we doing next? And so she can just be like, oh, you go tell me. And it's been really impactful. So you can use it in that way too, if you are not already. I wonder, she actually has clothespins where the kiddos they put their clothespin with, I think their faces on it too, on the thing that they're doing. So they're very interactive with it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to.
We have a clothespin with an arrow that goes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So glad that's working. Amazing. I would love to know now, Miss Emily, you and I talked also about meaningful work, jobs, and heavy work. Is anyone, do all the kiddos have something important that they're doing either every day, kind of flexibly, or it's part of the routine more concretely? And where are they getting heavy work if they're not doing enough out in play organically?
Well, I'll say this, part of the next workshop that we're doing is also heavy work. So we haven't gone through a lot of that yet. I did send information to some of the teachers in regards to it, for the kids that I felt like, you know, could really get some good experience with it. So, I mean, everyone can kind of talk about their experience that they're doing thus far. You know, but we have not gone through great detail about it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just share why heavy work is important if you don't know. It integrates the senses. So when kids are lifting and pulling and pushing and they're really all in, I mean, all their muscles are invested in this important work, then they are so much more, they're regulating themselves. And, you know, lifting rocks on their own, that's great. But those top off kids, those kids who need a little bit more belonging and significance, if we can help them do heavy work while also doing important work, then we're checking, you know, 2 boxes at once there. So again, those top off kids, especially the ones we're constantly thinking of the antecedent strategies, how to help them do well. Have they had enough heavy work? Are they doing enough important work? Trying to kind of get those into one. And then you can add that, Emily, into your training. Is anyone already doing that? Miss Laura?
We are in a way. So for example, we play with water a lot, and the kids say, I need more water. Okay, go to the pond and get some water. Oh, I can't do it. It's too heavy. I said, well, just take a scoop out and just transport whatever you can. So they're going back and forth with heavy buckets of water, and sometimes they need to move far away. Then I think we all do in the school, like transporting the carts, the wagons. It's kind of messy because they want to pull and they want to push. So we try to minimize it for one pulling, one pushing. It is hard. It's really hard on us. So I see my co-teachers, they try to, okay, no, we're not doing this today, like, because it's hard. Rotating the kids and letting them understand that not everybody's going to do it every day or whatever. And also we have the leader of the day. that's not having work, but it's like importance, like, okay, you are following the rules good enough for you to be today our leader. And so they are the first ones in line every time we move. But that's as much as we do.
Okay.
We do job charts, and because we're a 3-day week, it's 2 weeks, and it's a random poll. Their names are on a clothespin, and the job chart has the jobs listed. And as I pull, they get this job for two weeks.
Okay.
And some is pulling wagons, some is handling lunch boxes, picking up garbage, checking that the bathrooms stay clean, keeping time for us to keep us on track, line leader. I'm trying to think of, I have 13 kids, so right now I don't have enough jobs. I need to go home and make a new job chart because I'm out of jobs.
There we go. And
yeah, a new job chart now.
There we go. And how do you make sure that kids are, well, if you go home and make 13, then everyone will get a job. I was just asking, how do you make sure that everyone gets a turn, especially those kids who struggle the most? They're the ones who need that important work the most.
Well, every 2 weeks, I just change the chart changes.
Okay.
All the names come off and they get rotated out. And again, it's a random, and I actually have a section on there that's job vacation.
Oh,
And that's when some kids are like, I don't want to do that.
okay.
I'm like, okay, do you want to be on vacation for this turn? Do you want a vacation from jobs? And sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't feel like doing anything.
Okay. And so,
So they'll do
okay, and that works well. You're saying that works pretty well. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find that the kiddos, I'd just be looking for patterns, this are the kiddos that are constantly going on vacation? Do they have more behavior issues, challenges? Is that a pattern or not really?
They don't like to be on job vacation.
Okay, good.
And usually it's the kid who's absent ends up getting that
Okay.
because they don't really want it. They want to do something.
Cool. And
Yeah.
most kids really do. Awesome.
Yeah,
And
they want to do things.
that tells me that you're presenting it in very the most fun possible and contributive way. It's not really a job. It's truly contributing to the whole team. So
yeah, they love to be given jobs to do.
Awesome.
And then luckily the bonnet house here, the staff will sometimes ask our kids, we need you guys to go collect the coconuts. So as groups, we'll all go pick up coconuts. So they get that little bit of work to do.
I just laugh because I've never picked up a coconut in my life. That's not here in the desert, but that's awesome. I can't even realize what that is. No, I love it.
God, there's hundreds here for them to pick up.
That's awesome. How is brain in the palm of your hand going? The red, green, yellow. Because I have some activities that I really want to see if they'd be really powerful in helping kiddos truly solve their own problems. But until we've got some self-regulation and some awareness of that social emotional stuff, we can't do that. So who's doing this? How's it going? Are kids doing it? How's that going?
Camila, are you going to talk about Lisa?
Yeah. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that Lisa's been doing it in her class, and just the times that I've come by or just seen from afar, I'll see the kids just like flash their little flipped lid and then just like take space, and I just see Lisa, step back, let them do that, and then come back when they're ready. And yeah, it's been really like obvious how much power it's given them, because before it was like the teacher was suggesting they take space or asking if they needed space, and that just created like more tension where there was already tension. And now they just do their little motion, find their own little spot, and that's it, and they come back when they're ready. And Lisa did a little training for that for the teachers on a Monday, the Monday we were off. And that went really well too. The teachers like really, really liked it. So I'm sure that people will be presenting it soon to their class.
Okay, very cool. Does anyone have anything else to share on that? Okay, if you do, just pop in. I guess and this may have been Camila, you just shared that, right? Think so.
Yes, that was for Lisa's group, but I am sharing it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I think too, I just want to highlight this element. If we can let the kiddos know how we're feeling, and if we're in the, green, yellow, and red, because we want them to start reading our, so our emotions, so they have that awareness, and we can engage in that modeling of that dialogue. So it can be like, yeah, I'm feeling yellow. My dog threw up this morning and I just can't get the smell out of my nose. I'm feeling kind of yellow today. I'll be green soon, I think. I'm working on it. But we really want them to know that it's fluid and everyone experiences this, and to really articulate. So them flashing it is great. That's a great first step. They're like, I'm flipped. I'm taking a few minutes, but for them to start to articulate what that really means. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know Lisa, when she presented it to her class, she did the emotions and the colors together with the demonstration of that. And again, I've really seen it like from afar or just when I come in, so I don't know if her kids are using the language yet, but yeah, great
Cool.
suggestion.
All right. Awesome. Does everyone feel complete on that end? If you're not trying it, maybe try it. And Miss Laura, little ones can do this too.
Yes, I was thinking about bringing the colors like Lisa showed with the emotions. I was working on a story about a chameleon that instead of changing colors with the environment, he would change colors with the mood. So I bring it in a form of a story for the little ones. So hopefully we're going to implement that maybe next week.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
also the clipping.
And for the older ones, I don't know if I shared this lingo. This is the wizard brain and lizard brain. If that's fun and helpful, when we're in our reptilian brain, we're just, fight or flight, we're just in reactive mode, or wizard brain in our thinking mode. That's a fun way too for the older ones. Okay, cool. I'm so glad that one is so powerful. So I'm glad everyone is thinking about it and really trying to implement it.
Sorry, can you repeat that? It was wizard and the other one?
Wizard or lizard.
Okay. I don't think I could hear it.
Godzilla. I'm actually coming up with some caricatures like Godzilla freaking out. Wizard brain with we're learning, we're listening, we can receive criticism, and we can say sorry. All these things happen with our wizard brain.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. If everyone is good with it, I would love to go into some too kind, too firm. How to be kind and firm. Does that sound good with everybody? Yes. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. What is it? Oh, there it is. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, hopefully I don't even see me anymore. Does everyone see the cross? Yes, no? What?
I don't see it just yet.
Okay, I don't even see me. My computer is completely frozen. That's a bummer. What do you guys?
Yeah,
We see a screen that says that you started a screen sharing, but we don't see the screen.
Okay, I'm seeing that.
No, mine's just spinning kind of.
Mine says your screen is paused. So hopefully it's coming on. I don't have time for this. Let's do it. Well, I'm just going to kind of chat through it as this decides what to do. So if we think of quadrants, can everyone see me okay? If we think of quadrants, we can think of kindness, And opposite of kindness would be more of the abusive stuff. And then we have our, all right, hold on, I'm gonna hit stop share. We're gonna try this again. Stop share, try this again, screen share. Share. There we go. Do we see this? Maybe your screen is loading. There we go. Yay. Yes, everyone see the cross? Okay. So we have, these are just dimensions of kindness and firmness. And when we can be over here into permissive, and that is way too much freedom, no order. Have we all been here sometimes? Raise your hand. Have we all been a little too kind sometimes? Yes. That sneaks us into that permissive state. That is very, very confusing for children and for us. It's not a safe space for kiddos. They push boundaries here. And so if we go here sometimes, okay, just really recognize this. We've all been here, and that's okay. Neglect, I would imagine no one's been here, not at school, for sure. That's no freedom, no order. I would say it's actually, I would say there is too much freedom here, honestly. Let's take away that no. It's way too much freedom, no order. That is neglect. Then if we come, I'm gonna put y'all over here for a second. If we come here to the firmness, so firm is here. So right between kind and firm is this democratic space of freedom and order. And this really is where we want to be most of the time. And then sometimes we can get into too firm, and abuse would be down here. And sometimes it's easy, depending on our tendencies and our past patterns, how we were parented, all this matters. Sometimes we can get into this authoritarian space, way too much order and no freedom. Have we all printed, or even teachers?
Emily, mute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And yes, definitely have been there.
So the amazing thing is kind and firm. That's where choices come in. That's where we connect with these kiddos. We validate what they're feeling, and we give the choice and the boundary. That's where we can stay in kind and firm. Okay, does that sound good? All right, so now I'm gonna do a different screen share. Does anyone have any questions on that piece real quick? Everyone feel pretty good with that? Again, where your parents parented from or past teachers taught from, those create shadows in us that we can have triggers to that we may not be aware of. So that's why it's so important for all of us as guides of kiddos to do our own work. Wherever we see a trigger, that really tells us, where do I need to do my work? And that's a whole nother thing. But if our parents were neglectful or authoritarian or even too permissive, that can really, that builds us, that impacts us on a cellular level. So, okay. I'm going to share screen again, and I'm just going to go through some examples. Let me know if you can see this screen. Oops. Okay, it's over here, but I need it over here. Hold on. Let me try this again. And as I read these, okay, that's not, let me stop share. As I read these examples, I would love to be interrupted and for whoever to say, ooh, I experienced that this week, or I've experienced that recently, and this is how it went. And we can talk about if it went well or what we can do differently next time. Okay. We're really building that awareness. All right, screen is loading. Sharing, yes. All right. Just gonna squish everyone up. Okay, so This is kind and firm, okay? So kind is respect for the child and firm is respect for yourself. Just, can someone confirm that you're seeing this? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Connection before correction is key. You want to be connecting before we correct or redirect every time. If we can't, because we have to yell to keep the kiddo safe, which really probably doesn't have to happen all that often, that's the only time we're not connecting first, okay? An easy way to remember this is this and. So kind and firm. So these are kind of parenting examples, but they still fall into what we do. So I know you don't want to stop playing, and it's time for bath. So we're validating and we're giving that boundary. Now, to make this more powerful, we'd give a choice. We could say, would you like to take a bath in mommy's bath or the guest room? We can give that choice to give them some power back, right? The next one, I know you'd rather have dessert. And first we need to eat our dinner. Are you going to eat your carrots first or your broccoli or whatever? So giving that choice, redirecting. You don't want to brush your teeth, and we'll do it together. Do you want to put toothbrush or toothpaste on my toothbrush too, or do you want me to do it? Giving some power back through a choice. So this one gives a choice. I know you don't want to go to bed, so you're showing understanding. And it's time, it's bedtime. Do you want one story or two stories as soon as your jammies are on? So giving that power back, giving that choice, that boundary, and some power back. Okay, how does that feeling for everybody? Miss Laura?
Do you actually say and?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Make
Okay.
sure it's not condescending, but you can say and. I know you don't want to stop playing. And you can say and as long as your tone is very really showing you're validating their feelings. You know, you're not being like, and it's time for bed. It's not in any kind of condescending way.
Mm-hmm. So I had this situation with a child wanted to have the big shovel from one spot to another spot that we were switching activities. So from the arrival that they play to circle time. And after circle time, we have play again. So the first day I said, okay, I see that you want to still play with the shovel. You're welcome to bring it with you and leave it next to you because we're going to play over there and you can use it later. So he understood, he took it. Today, he wanted to take it again to the other area, but we were coming to play to the original area, let's say to where we were right now. So I said, I understand that you want to play with the shovel. And yes, he says, because I took it the other day there. Said, but listen, like he didn't want to listen. So I went to his level and said, but listen to me. We're going to come back here. So there's no need for you to take the shovel over there. Leave it here. You have it ready for when you come back. And yeah, he agreed. So everything went well. But first, yes, I validated his feelings. I understood that he was really into the shovel and shoveling, and then giving him this choice, permission and choice to, okay, take it there, but leave it on the side, or don't take it there. It's not necessary. Just trust me. We are going to come back here. And yeah, he understood.
So it sounds like everything went well.
Yes, thank goodness.
If he started to really hold on to it more tightly, you can give a little bit more power and a choice, and you can say something like, do you want to leave it by your bucket or by that tree?
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Do you need anything from me more on that point, or you're just sharing that it worked?
I was just sharing that it worked.
Okay, cool. Anybody else on this and piece? Everyone feel good about this? We'll go on to the next one. All right, I'm assuming. Okay, so that's that and piece. So this one is when statements are too kind. Oh goodness. So y'all pick up coconuts. We have 2 feet of snow outside, so it's a little different environment, and my internet is not happy about it. Okay, it's trying. Okay, so now we're going to look at it, what it looks like to be too kind, and then we're going to look at it what it looks like to be too firm, and how confusing both of these are for kiddos. I'm not going to tell you, so this is too firm. I'm not going to tell you again. I see you reading that comic. Oh, if I see you reading that comic book one more time, it's mine. Ugh, right? Like either the kiddo has 2 choices: to surrender completely to control or to fight, right? Yeah, that's why being too firm doesn't work. Number 2, if you don't stop doing that, you're in timeout. Again, they have to surrender completely, give up everything that they are, or fight. If you can't behave yourself, you don't get to go on the field trip. Threats, there's just no solution being offered here. Number 4, I don't care if you don't want to help clean up. Get moving, mister. That's kind of funny. If you don't remember to bring your books, you can spend this time writing an essay about remembering. Again, one of the R's on a solution is it's got to be relatable, repeatable. There's some other criteria that make finding solutions possible. This is just about adult control. You said you'd be on time. I don't want to hear any excuses. You just got another tardy mark. I'm not going to treat you any different from anyone else. Do you think you are special? So I probably made those a little bit maybe more sarcastic as to be fun. Maybe not, right? I mean, I can imagine that we've all felt what this kind of feels like. So too firm, it gets into that authoritarian, and it's just not helpful. Anyone have any comments on what too firm feels like? I can only see one person, though.
Megan, maybe we can have the teachers talk about when they've done those things, you know?
Yeah.
I think it would be good to kind of associate what we've done and then reflect on it, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Does anyone feel brave? Yeah, go ahead.
I think in the past, I can't think of like a super specific example, but I can say that in the past I've decided to go more firm to, in my mind, save time. Like I thought, okay, I'll come in strong and we'll get moving much faster, but no, it just causes way more chaos. And then I have to reassess the situation and come in with a different move. And yeah, I think I can share that at least.
I would love to, just for some more perspective, if someone had a parent that did this to them, I really want to go into what you, as the child receiving this, were thinking, feeling, and deciding. Because that's what our kids do too. Does anyone feel like they want to share an experience of that?
I can't do that. Maybe people can think about that, but I have another thing of, you know, what I've heard recently.
Okay.
I heard, you know, you will not jump over this. They were on the shelter. You will not jump over this shelter. We will make sure that both feet are on the ground. You know, things like that, things to that nature.
Okay, so you will not, and the tone of the voice matters too. So,
Right. It was more about the tone of it,
okay,
you know, and then there was no actual, there wasn't any talk about why, you
Yeah.
know, or direction in regards to what could happen. Like
Mhm.
we can keep our feet on here, we can climb over there. At right now, we are not climbing, you
Yeah,
know, more like that.
gotcha. That's a really great example. And so the next piece with that would be to give a choice. You know, oh, we're not climbing over, feet on the ground. Do you want to go to the left or to the right? Or
Mhm.
something of that nature. So those choices are, that's what gets kiddos not being stuck and not wanting to fight so much.
What if we are transitioning from one place to another and the kid is walking into the pond and it's, you may not put your feet in the water right now. We are on our way to whatever, the forest, you know, you may, you know, and we use that language with them. You may not get wet right now. Feet are on the ground. We are here.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know, the language that we use. And it's not can you want to go this way or you want to go that way. We as a class, we are moving here now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually more of the focus. It's just like as a class, oh, we are moving here now. Like we are
Right.
leaving. That's it.
Right. But
You know?
isn't that what we were just saying, is that teacher just said you know, feet are on the ground, you
No.
may not jump out of the shelter?
No, they were climbing on the shelter, and it was you may not climb on the shelter. It was the tone that was being used more than the words itself.
Okay.
The
All right.
way it
Just,
was
yeah.
being directed.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
with that, if that's a kiddo that has a pattern of needing more support, then we want to make that note and we want to think about more antecedent strategies and that front loading and that future casting and those choices to help them be successful. We're going to spend the time either way, either fighting them in the moment or spending time helping them be successful. So we can come back to that. We have 2 more minutes. Let's go into Too Kind real quick. I don't know why you don't listen. It makes me feel so sad when you don't listen. Fine, go ahead, sweetie, but this is the last time. You feel how confusing these are for kiddos? Oh, please stop pouting. It's okay this time, but remember, you can't have special privileges every time. So that is too kind, too soft, very confusing for kiddos because this isn't sustainable. The adult who does this all the time is gonna blow because this is not sustainable. Miss Emily, I can stay on about 10 more minutes. Or do we need to end in like 1 or 2 minutes?
Well, I mean, part of what the teachers were doing was doing the ABCs. I would like to be able to finish that and at least get through one person so that they could
Okay.
maybe share, if that's okay.
Yes, let's do it. So how do you want to do that? How do we want to pull that up?
For the ABC, I think just asking somebody to volunteer.
Sounds good. I'm going to stop share. Hi, everybody. Who would love to volunteer? Let's do this.
I can volunteer. Let me look at what I wrote up though. So this was about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll start with the A. Two students, R and I, were playing catching lizards together during their free time. And then the teacher gave a 5-minute warning and a 2-minute warning before, you know, moving into a different area and then getting into a more focused teacher-led time. And this is something that the kids are familiar with. So like at 2 minutes, if they have any lizards, if they've collected any like nature items, if they dug holes, whatever, they start to like clean up, put back the animals where they found them, and so on. So at the 2-minute warning, the students are expected to put their animals back, and in this scenario, I was the teacher there, so I know that these 2 girls in specific have trouble with this. So I just got close to them and I said, "Hey, did you hear my call? It's time to put the lizard back. Where will you put it?" And then an argument started happening about who would put the lizard back, right? Which has happened with them before. And I said, one of us can pick the spot and the other one can release it. I was just sharing ideas. But things kind of escalated quickly. And we've spoken about these 2 girls, R and I, before. They just have an interesting dynamic that we are unsure how to navigate. But anyway, so things escalated quickly as they typically do. And then let me read. Sorry, let me go back to what I wrote. I decided I had the lizard in her hand, so she decided she was going to put the lizard down wherever she wanted, and she did. R followed her. She eventually put her arms on I, tugging her arms down, and then grabbed the lizard and ran off. R grabbed the lizard and then I ran off out of sight from the teachers. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. It's like frozen on my end.
Okay.
So R grabbed the lizard from the tree that I had put it on, and she released it herself, re-released the lizard herself, and then I ran out of sight completely. We've actually had I's dad come in to help, and at that point he was there and then followed her to the bathroom where she ran off to and then brought her back. And then by the time she was brought back, we had done, I think, our focus time and then started free time, like a short free time before we left. And I had spoken to R individually about our options during that time, kind of the same stuff I was already saying, like the options I was giving them at that 2-minute warning, just like, we can talk to our friend. I know we were both playing with the lizard, so it's hard to decide. But maybe this time you pick the spot and she releases, and then next time you do the opposite. But it's just hard. It's just hard with these 2 girls. I think in general, I would open up a conversation, kind of like what that person thinks that they should do when this happens. Like, what are other ways we could have dealt with that? But they both are pretty unresponsive to stuff like that. They won't talk at all.
Okay.
So it's usually me talking ideas, and then they're just like nodding their head. They're not really speaking back.
Okay.
And then I came back. And then I tried to have that conversation with but it wasn't working out. And then they ended up playing together at the end of the day.
Okay. Really quickly, R put the lizard down and I grabbed the lizard and went off.
Opposite. So I put the lizard out originally, and then R put her hands on I, grabbing the lizard, releasing it herself again, and that's when I ran off.
Okay. So when we're talking with 2 kiddos, they each need their own ABC.
They need their own, sorry?
They would need their ABC.
Oh, okay.
And I am so sorry. Even in the example, we had 2 kids. I'm just realizing this. So y'all, when we're talking about 2 kids, they need their own ABC because we're talking to them individually, and certain things are going to set each of them off individually, right? So it's really hard to look at that antecedent of what set them off and what can be supportive. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you would be willing, Camilla, to do it again and put it in the group or email it to me, however, whatever works best for you, then I can, I'll do a Loom or I'll make a video and talk you through it and talk the group through it before next time, okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay. But it sounded like, so the behavior, so yeah, we want to get itty gritty on the behavior. So just to keep with this theme, what behavior do you want to look at? One behavior, the grabbing, the releasing, which one do you want to look at?
Which one do I want to look at? I feel like the grabbing, the releasing. Sorry.
And that with the running off as well.
That's kind of a lot. I guess the releasing, like I think like especially between them, or like even in their individual selves, like just like this unwillingness or inability to like compromise. They keep like coming into the situations where they, you know, whereas other kids, I feel like when we give suggestions, they're like open to them. Or when another kid is expressing something, they will like compromise on their own. They'll be creative and think of something on their own. It's not happening with these girls individually, and especially not together.
Okay. So yeah, if you would be willing to do an individual ABC on each of them, that would help me a lot to understand exactly what was said. And
Yeah, I think that would help me a lot too. So yes.
okay. One thing, and you may be doing an element of this, but to give you a strategy is something that's worked really well for me with a variety of kiddos, especially when I know there's a pattern of disorientedness when kiddos, you know, don't take suggestion well sometimes, is saying, you know, coming in close. And it sounds like you gave the transition. It sounds like you did a lot of really great things to help them. Something that I have found also helpful is, you know, when one has a lizard, and then you go to offer suggestions, you can, you know, you're down on the level, their level, you can say, I'm gonna hold the lizard because I have something to say. So you take the lizard carefully from them. And then you can say, we have, and this is something, and it makes it a little bit more neutral, is something I say is, I have two girls here who want to let a lizard go. Want to let a lizard go. We have a little bit of problem. How are we gonna, what solution do you think we can come up with together? And invite them to come up with the solutions.
Okay.
Is that a little bit different from what we've already been doing?
Yeah, definitely different. I do wonder how they would respond to that, because I think they are feeling, maybe in my opinion, and maybe I have seen like evidence of it, when I'm giving those warnings, I think they're already having like these thoughts inside of them and getting like, I don't know, they're like ready to fight about it basically. So when I come in, I don't know, I think they like already sense that I'm going to try and do the opposite of what they want, right? Like they want to release the lizard on their own. So I wonder if I went and said, you know, hey, I'm gonna hold the lizard now. I just wonder how they would react to that. I could see them fighting back.
Yeah, I've done it. I've tried to do it with them, and they do. That's exactly it. They fight,
Okay.
and they won't give it up.
So
Yeah.
okay, so we want to think even of a different antecedent strategy. Something that I've also tried, and you may have tried this, is coming to them before you start giving those transition warnings and letting them know, hey, I'm going to be giving a transition warning. Sometimes there's a struggle letting the bugs go. Are you girls going to be able to handle it after I give the transition warning, or do I just need to take it now?
Yeah.
That can give power in a little different way, and it gives them the opportunity to kind of do well before you get there to oversee.
Yeah, I do like that. Doing it before the warnings.
That's that antecedent strategy where we're really setting up the environment, and you're already trying different things. So you guys, you ladies are already so amazing at doing these different things and trying to see what's working and what's not. And amazing there. But yeah, maybe trying that little different angle.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, we never get to like get everyone's all the things. We're at the 210 mark. In the past, I've asked for a recap what your most powerful thing was, but then there's been no like accountability on doing it, which actually everyone's pretty good already on doing the thing that was the most powerful, but I definitely want to make sure that that happens. So yeah, we are at that recap moment. And does that sound okay for everybody? Emily, is that okay? Are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. I'll just call names so there's no time wasted. What was your favorite thing or the thing that was the most powerful for you, and how are you gonna make sure that you use it? So Camilla, you're up. You're first on my screen here. So for today, what was the most powerful thing that you learned, and how are you going to implement?
Thanks. Definitely what we just talked about. And then what Laura shared about doing the rules in her circle. Okay, I'm sorry. I imagined it at circle. I actually don't know if it happened at circle. Doing it like that with my kids, because like I said, I was just taking like opportunities in the moment to have them show us, the rule or whatever, show us as the group. But I think it would be neat to do it like you did, Laura, like an isolated thing.
Very cool. Okay. And when do you plan on doing this?
I could literally do it tomorrow.
All right, awesome.
Sure.
How that works. Okay. And an ABC redo. Okay.
Mhm.
I've been saying your name wrong this whole time. It's not Laura.
It's if you're speaking English, it might be Laura, but if you are willing to do an extra effort, it's Laura.
Laura. Laura?
Laura is in Spanish.
Laura. Okay, I can do that. Miss Laura, what was the most impactful thing that you learned today that you want to try and implement?
I would like to try and implement this, what you discussed about giving and receiving and giving that frame. Okay, you can have it, but I need it back in X. I don't know, before I finish this thing, or when I finish this, or when you finish this. Or you may have it for until we are done with playtime, and then it needs to come back to my hand. So giving that frame of, okay, how long can I have it, or do I need to return it or not, with those clear rules. Yeah.
Okay. And when are you going to try?
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Very cool. Miss Miss Lizzie.
I am going to try to use more of the and thing, which feels a lot like the choices, giving the choices, you want to do this or you want to do that. But I like the and. I would just replace, I probably would use the language but. So I'll replace that with the and.
Okay.
Right? Like, okay, I know that you want to keep playing, but it's time for us to go to art. So I guess I can, instead of but we have to, I'll make it and.
Okay. And it's in your tone. And notice if the kids feel it differently and do respond more positively. And if you're willing to take it one next step, is adding that choice. I know you want to go to art, and we're going to coconuts. We're going to go pick coconuts. What are you want to pull a wagon, or do you want to hop? Or, because when we give that choice, we redirect the brain also. We leave them, we get them out of being stuck. But try the and only. Notice if that works. Maybe that's going to be like amazing and magical. That would be really cool. See if it hits different than the but for sure.
Yep.
Cool. And when are you going to try this?
When it comes up.
Okay. All right. Miss Emily, do you have anything what was most impactful for either you or the team that you really want everyone to lean into?
I like the idea of being proactive with the transitional time. I think that it would be really great, not just for cases where there's some sort of tension or, just things that come up, but also just transitional time in general. We've talked about it, and just kind of for those kiddos who may need a little bit more, I don't know, just not guidance, but just more direction with that time. You know, it's always a good idea to kind of be proactive and kind of give that, you know, as a opportunity to tell them so that they can anticipate, you know, and maybe that's in the situation where you have a problem that could occur like the lizards, but also, you know, just in general, you know, like I heard that earlier with Laura too. It was, you know, with the shovel, you know, well, I see that we're going to leave the shovel here right now, and we're going to come back to it in a few minutes. You know, just letting them know in advance. I think it's really a great way to kind of get the kids to understand.
Are you saying within that transition time or even in the moment of, you know, you're gonna leave the shovels here, you can come back and get it? To let
That was a transition time. So
Okay.
I was using that as the example.
Okay. So you're calling it proactive, that's fine. We call that future casting. And to give another example of what that can look like is, you know, we're letting them know you can leave the shovel here. We're gonna come back. But even more than that, you can come to the kiddos and say, hey, in a few minutes, we're gonna be moving into circle, just to let you know that that's happening, even giving them more and then letting them know. And you know,
Exactly.
yeah,
Mhm.
cool. That was a really, I kind of mumbled that, but that future casting can be really powerful. Okay, amazing, everybody. Does everyone feel complete? I know these go so fast. If anyone has any questions at all, ABC stuff, or at all during the weeks, you can come into the Facebook group, our private one, just for this group, Guiding Positive Behaviors for Nature Schools, I believe. And you can post it there, tag me so I see it, and I will help get through it, okay? Before 2 weeks from now. Just want to put that reminder out there. Okay, everyone. Thank you for everything. Y'all are so amazing, and the work you do is not unnoticed. So with that, we will talk next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye.